Okay, last one, and this is probably the one that's going to make you a little bit maybe ticked off with me. I'm not quite sure. So now we're going to look at an accounting system that's been computerized, which I'll have to tell you, I have to say probably a good majority of most computer systems are now computerized because it makes life so much easier, much quicker. There are three main advantages for having a computer system. One is it simplifies the record keeping. It usually records a transaction once and explodes down through the system. And you don't have to keep transferring numbers back and forth and around and this and that and the other. The other thing is they're much more accurate because there's only one entry, and it then posts to the general ledger and creates the financial statements and will actually do your closings for you, and there are all types of good advantages as far as accuracy in a computer system. The key point is to make sure the system is designed correctly. If it's designed correctly, the accuracy probably increases tenfold over a manual system. And finally, excuse me, no matter when, whether it be 1 day into the period or 10 days into the period or 3 months into the period, you can get your financial records and financial statements immediately without having to do a closing, without having to manipulate numbers and do adjustments. You still have to do adjustments, but this gives you a fairly good idea of where you stand immediately rather than waiting for the accountants to close the accounts and pull it all around. So and not only that, it's usually costs the company less, I mean, as far as labor is concerned, and as far as mistakes are concerned. The one thing about a computer system you really have to understand, though, is if there is a mistake, it hits multiple places very quickly, so you have to understand the system so you know how to fix it and pull that back up. So let's kind of look at what I'm talking about here. This would be revenue and cash receipts in Quickbooks. Now remember, for revenue and cash receipts in the manual system, you had two journals. You really don't have to do that. What you're going to do is you'll create an invoice, and that invoice will have, it's hard to see here, this is the item, it's called for consulting, so that's going to go under your consulting revenue. This is a description of it. Here would be your quantity and the rate for each one of those, and then here's the total right here. Now what happens, which is really kind of very nifty, is the minute you enter this goes into your accounts receivable. It goes into your fees earned. If I wanted to pull a balance statement up right now, this would already be in my balance sheet statement, rather than have to close and finagle and pull that all around. And the really great thing is, the next time when you get ready to receive the money for that, if you receive the payment, you literally just pull up a customer payment, you'll pull up that invoice, you will apply it to that invoice, it will automatically go into accounts receivable and adjust their account. It will automatically go into the cash account, and if you wanted to pull reports off, again, they're instantaneous if you want it. It'll show you how much you've received in cash receipts. It will show you what's left in accounts receivable. If you wanted to, you could go and pull up balance sheet statements and income statements all at the same time right after you've put this in, rather than having to pull up and do a trial balance and everything. What are we looking for? Here's your revenue and cash receipts in, this is just showing another report that you can pull up very quickly. And you can do this in various different ways. You can do it by invoice, you can do it by date, you can do it by invoice number, however. So it's very easy to find things in a computerized system. And like I said, from one thing, you could actually, when you write out a check, you can do the same thing because your check is going to have who you're paying it to. You're going to have down in where it's what it's for, you could have your expense account. You would have your amount, you would have your date. It would just explode into the system, and rather than have to do journal entries and then post it to the ledger, that whole thing, that whole process, those two processes are removed. You enter it once, and the system does the posting, or does the journalizing, the posting, and puts it into the proper income statement or balance sheet. So what you're learning right now is a manual system, and the reason why you learn the manual system is so that you understand how the information gets into the accounts. Most businesses anymore will run Quickbooks or another accounting system. Quickbooks costs something like $200, if that. In some cases, you can actually do it online and have it in the cloud and just pay a subscription per month. So, more than likely when you get out into the big bad world, you will be using a computerized system, but you will also understand how those accounts got set up. So that's a really important thing. Learning manual accounting is very much like learning the ABCs so that you can learn to write or learn to speak or recognize words. You have a really difficult time writing if you don't understand proper spelling. If you don't understand the mechanics of putting a word together. And that's what manual accounting is. It's helping you build a basis so that you can spring into a computerized accounting system or into interpreting the financial statements. So just a quick view. Again, there are about 2 entry points that you're going to do is the invoice and then the cash receipts and when you write out a check. You can even do your payroll from one sheet, or one form, by putting in the number of hours, and it would do the taxes, it will do the amount paid, it will do any type of deduction that you need, and actually print your check for you. And all you have to do is stamp the check with the your name for the signature, and you can probably run payroll for maybe, 50 people in probably half an hour, as compared to doing it manually, which could take up to a day and a half. So that's an accounting computerized system. I wish we did more with it. If you get a chance, I believe we have an integrated accounting course. Take it. So that finishes up Chapter 5, and now we're going to do some talking about this. So thank you very much for listening.